Okay, so let's talk about crystals. They are everywhere right now, aren't they? You see them all over social media, in shop windows, maybe you've even got one on your desk. But here's the thing. Behind that shiny exterior, there's this really complex story. It's about geology, deep history, and even a massive, messy global trade. So today, we're going to dive in and look at the full picture. You know, for a lot of people, it really just starts with a feeling. And I mean a profound, life-altering kind of feeling. Take this quote right here. It's from a YouTuber talking about his first time with a crystal called Moldavite. He said he felt this insane energy, like his life just shifted, a totally unexplainable connection. And really, that's where we're going to start our journey today. Not with science, not with history, but with that feeling, that intense personal connection that so many people talk about. What is it about these little rocks that can make someone feel like their whole world just turned on a dime? So to even begin to unpack that, we've got to ask a much more basic question. What are these things? Like, really? Before they're a spiritual tool or a wellness accessory, they are geological formations from deep in the earth. Okay, so scientifically speaking, a crystal is basically a solid where all the atoms are lined up in this super precise repeating pattern. Think of it like perfect natural Lego. And while most of them form way down deep inside the Earth, some have a much more dramatic origin story, like straight-up extraterrestrial. That Moldavite we mentioned, that's actually a type of natural glass that was created when a meteorite smashed into the Earth 15 million years ago. Bam! Instant space glass.
But yeah, the vast majority of crystals we see are the result of these incredibly slow, ancient processes. We're talking millions of years of patient work by Mother Nature. They pretty much form in three main ways. You've got cooling magma, right, lava that cools and hardens. Then there's water evaporation, where water leaves behind all these cool mineral deposits. And finally, you get these super hot gases that blast their way into cracks in existing rock.
So, when they're first pulled out of the ground, they look like this, kind of raw, rough, and they're natural shapes. You know, single points, big clusters, perfect little cubes. But what we usually see in stores are these guys, the carved shapes. They've been tumbled, cut, polished, basically shaped by us into these smooth spheres, hearts, and palm stones. And that right there, that's really the first time we humans put our touch on them. And this is where things get really interesting, where the mystical and the scientific kind of meet. Have you ever heard of piezoelectricity? It's a real measurable property of quartz. Basically, when you squeeze it, it generates a tiny little electrical charge, a reliable one. This isn't some new age idea. It's literally the technology that makes a quartz watch tick. So we know for a fact that these stones can hold and convert energy. And for believers, that's a huge piece of the puzzle. So that brings us to the human side of the story, our long and honestly fascinating relationship with these stones. And let's be clear, this is not a new trend. No way. This is an ancient practice that's been evolving for thousands of years, all across the globe. I mean, this fascination goes way back. Back in the Stone Age, they weren't just tools, they were also worn as protective amulets. Fast forward to ancient Egypt, they were obsessed with lapis lazuli. They thought it was sacred, connected to the gods. The ancient Greeks, they had a theory that gemstones were literally formed by the stars. And then, after centuries of being part of folklore, the 1960s hit, and boom, a huge revival that pretty much set the stage for the crystal craze we see today. And, the stories. So many of these stones are just wrapped in layers of myth and legend. Let's go back to Moldavite for a second. Get this. Legends have linked this little green stone to the Holy Grail, the actual Philosopher's Stone, and there's even one story that says it's an emerald that fell from Lucifer's crown during the fall from heaven. I mean, how wild is that? It just shows you how deep these things can get into our culture. Okay, so we've got this deep history, right? Part measurable science, part powerful myth. But how did all that ancient stuff evolve into what people are actually doing with crystals today, like right now? All right, let's get into it. Modern crystal practice. How do all these ancient ideas actually show up in the 21st century? It's everything from simple meditation to really intricate stuff. The ways people use them today are just all over the map. You've got people wearing them as jewelry, right, to keep that energy close. Others will hold one during meditation to help them focus. Some people get really into it and create these geometric grids to amplify an intention. You'll see pendulums used for guidance or, just a big, beautiful piece sitting in a living room to change the vibe of the space. Now, at the heart of a lot of these practices is a concept you've probably heard of, the chakras. It comes from Eastern traditions, and the basic idea is that these are the main energy centers in your body. They're like little spinning wheels of energy that connect your physical body to your energy body. And the theory goes that if one of these gets blocked or out of whack, it can cause problems. The system most people use has 7 main chakras running right up your spine, and each one has a specific location, a specific color, and, you guessed it, specific crystals that are thought to match its energy. So for example, you have the heart chakra right in the center of your chest. Its colors are green and pink, so it's linked with a stone like rose quartz to help with things like love and compassion. Makes sense, right?
Okay, so we've looked at the personal connection, the science, the history, and how people use them today, but there's one more absolutely crucial piece to this puzzle we have to talk about. How did these stones actually get from a mine deep in the earth into our hands? And that, my friends, is where we get into the huge, complicated, and sometimes pretty dark world of the global crystal trade.
And this scale of this thing is just mind-blowing. To put it in perspective, just one popular online crystal shop ships to more than 240 countries. 240! The demand is absolutely global, which means the supply chain has to stretch all the way around the planet to keep up. And this is where we have to talk about the difficult truth behind these beautiful objects. Look, some mines are regulated, but a lot of them aren't. In places that are rich in crystals but poor in cash, like Madagascar, a lot of the mining is still done by hand. And the work is just backbreaking. It's dangerous, the pay is terrible, and you'll often find entire families, even kids, doing this work. Because of this stuff, there's a growing movement of people who want to be more conscious consumers. They're starting to ask the hard questions. Questions you can ask too. Hey, where did this actually come from? What kind of damage did mining it do to the environment? And most importantly, were the people who dug this out of the ground treated fairly? People want to know the story, and transparency is becoming a really big deal.
And that really is the million-dollar question for this whole industry, isn't it? Ethically sourced. What does it mean when an object that you buy for healing, for good vibes, might have a backstory full of human exploitation or environmental harm? It's a tough one to square.
So when you hold a crystal in your hand, you're really holding all of these things at once, It's a geological wonder, millions of years in the making. It's a spiritual tool packed with centuries of human belief. And it's a global commodity with all the messy, complicated ethical stuff that comes along with it. So in the end, what is a crystal? Is it just a cool rock, a piece of science, a sacred object, or a product with a really complicated past? Maybe it's just a reflection of what we choose to see in it. The real question, after all this, is what do you see?